Joseph O'Donnell. Follow Jesus, Maxine. Stop being pro.
Well, welcome. As you see, I'm wearing the same shirt, and it's still the same day. I just finished doing Catching Up with Jacob a few hours ago, but yet I'm here again because it is time for the return of Ken's Corner. Ken, how are you doing, my brother?
Absolutely. It's been 3 weeks since we've been on. So it's been a while since I've seen you. And well, I see you every week and you don't see me, but now you get to see me. But I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man.
All right, and of course, it would not be Ken's Corner without the D'Artagnan to the Three Musketeers. Brett, how are you doing, brother? How is your Latin American paradise?
Hey, it's great here. We're just heading in, still getting a little bit of rain, but mostly into dry season, and it is nice. Enjoying it.
It's a jam-packed show. Do we have a shirt this week, Ken?
Yes, I do. I forgot to. Hey, thank you for remembering. But I have a Quicksilver shirt. I just it's a long sleeve. It's cold out here, so he's got the tropical weather, and we have the 20 degree. It's probably 27 to 30 outside. So
And I had 80 degrees today, so
I know. I was training my client this morning, and I said, "So how's it out there?" She's like, "It's nice." And I'm just like, "Wow, wow."
Yeah,
Yep.
we're sitting at 80 right now at 9 o'clock at night.
Whoa, whoa.
no thanks.
That's no.
That's weather that I fled Houston because of.
Yes. And with humidity there too. Wow.
Yeah, but usually even in the hot season, we don't. 88 is usually the highest. Usually it's 84 to 86. So
That's not bad.
It's not too bad.
That's not bad.
Not like Houston.
No. Whew.
Well, for those of you that do not know, Ken is going to be doing an uppercut to the media misinformation that seems to, well, make the airwaves what it is.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, let's get right into the stories. There's a caveat for this first story. According to fact checkers and scientific experts, whom we all trust,
Yeah.
You're right.
they're always right. So this is completely just speculation. This is speculation only, and it might be wrong. But the reason cancer rates appear higher in the vaccinated has nothing to do with the vaccine itself, and I'm not going to name the vaccine, but the vaccine. I think you know what I mean. It's because vaccinated people are apparently so virtuous, responsible, and medically obedient that they go to the doctor more often. And since doctors sometimes screen for things, voila, cancer exists sooner. Not more cancer, just awareness of cancer sooner, because science.
Science.
So this is me putting together just stuff, and we're already 5 years into this debacle. So, but this is a study of 8.4 million people, and it's from South Korea, and it shows that if you took the jab, you're 27 times more likely, 27% more likely to develop cancer. And it's just me observing and me saying, hey, this is what I'm observing. But the study is peer reviewed and is now one of several large authenticated studies that shows exactly the same thing. And they've spent billions convincing us that, hey, it's safe and effective. But even claimed if you didn't listen to them, you were a bad person. So you thought this was deceiving. Wait till you see the Antichrist thing that's coming in. And that's coming right behind this. So I don't know. 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 10 years, but it's coming. But I was just online and I was looking at a total of 450 peer-reviewed studies now demonstrate that COVID-19 vaccines are some fundamentally harmful to the human body. And so that's on That's on Twitter. That's on X. So, but that's just an update. And one last thing. I think I was sharing with you guys earlier that I at my Bible study on Wednesday night, um 5 or 6 people had a request for them to pray for their friends, and they had cancer, all 6 of them. And then I told my client that at his Bible study, he said that he noticed the same thing, that there was like maybe 6 or 7 or whatever amount of people, and they were all saying cancer. Everything was cancer, cancer, cancer. So I'm just making an observation. So, and then you guys run with it, or you guys observe your own thing or whatever. But yeah, just making an observation, as Jay said.
Just real quickly, I just want to state a few very important things. First of all, in case that you're watching this and none of what Ken just said actually came through, because obviously it was censored, I hope you enjoyed the cartoon that I put in there instead. Second, I just want to make it completely clear that acknowledging the possibility that a vaccine injury happen would be far more dangerous than injury itself, because it could possibly expose the pharmaceutical companies to liability, destabilize the medical industrial complex, and erode public confidence in governmental institutions.
No,
And we could
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
let
they
that
wouldn't
happen.
do that.
No.
Yeah,
of
they'd
course not.
never do that.
They care about us.
Yes.
Oh my
Don't you know
gosh.
they want
Oh,
they want our taxes? You know, our
yes.
taxes pay for everything, right?
Yes, exactly. And some pay more. So some pay a lot. And aren't taxes illegal? I don't know. I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Yep.
a lot of war over
Uh,
that.
And
Yep.
we also
Yep.
want to
Yep.
state that correlation is not equal causation. And
Yes.
you know, your doctor, he's the best person to tell you what to do with your life.
Yep. Yep.
Always.
And I'm just making an observation of what I've heard. So
That's right.
from the horse's mouth, from them perfectly. So yeah. Anyway, that's it.
All right, our next story. I believe this is yours, Brett. Welcome to Minnesota, right?
Yes.
Where compassion was weaponized, according to federal indictments, fraudulent feeding children programs and autism nonprofits were allegedly creating a public drain on funds, while portions of the money were sent abroad, including individuals tied to Al-Shabaab. Kids were hungry, paperwork was fake, the money very real. Take it away.
So Minnesota is working hard at becoming not only the largest welfare state in the nation, but also leading the way in funding terrorism against our own country. A whistleblower had alerted authorities about a Somali scam all the way back in 2020, but the investigation was stopped due to cries of racism and Islamophobia. Somalians began coming to Minnesota back in the 1990s, and the state now has around 80,000 Somali immigrants, and the FBI did nothing to vet these radical people coming in and coming to Minnesota, and they came to Minnesota. And our favorite representative, Omar, stated that linking anybody in her community would be a, quote, failure by the FBI, unquote. And Minnesota's mega welfare system now just keeps expanding. It's grown from $15 billion in 2022 to 2023, and is now expected to hit $23 billion next fiscal year, with
Wow.
$42 out of every $100 coming in. So 42% of all revenue, the GPT, is now going to be spent on the welfare system in Minnesota. And then we get to the fraud, the Somali-run Feed Our Future program, which saw over $300 million end up in the hands of criminals. Former U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson said the investigation unveiled schemes stacked upon schemes, stealing tens of millions from Medicaid. He went on to say, quote, "It feels never ending. I have spent my entire career as a fraud prosecutor, and the depths of this fraud in Minnesota takes my breath away. The fraud must be stopped," unquote. The FBI reported that Somalia was recruiting men from Minnesota to train at a terrorist training camp, and former sheriff in the former sheriff of Hennepin County said that, quote, "Young people were going back to Somalia to participate in terrorist training camps and terrorist action when they had no clear ties back to their culture. They were born here in the US, but felt a need or they were radicalized to go back," unquote. And to kind of cut and take a break from this for a minute is, we all know, like, I'm not surprised by that at all. I mean, I'm sure Ken and Jay, you guys aren't too. People don't understand what Islam is and what the Quran is. They are not going to adapt to our culture, whether they were born here or not. I mean, it is ingrained in them to take it over. I mean, that is Islam.
Yeah.
And then it said this dated back to 2010, and no one did anything about it. The majority of the stolen money was laundered through it's a place that you pick money through called Hawala, and the program is mainly used in the African community, where they can send funds to a local Hawala Dar along with a commission, and then the transaction details and a code are sent to another recipient. Then that recipient provides the code to a counterpart broker and receives the funds in their local currency in the other country. There is no customer identification, no records, no licensing. This is a complete government failure that any type of program was able to exist. It was basically set up just to completely launder the money from here over to Africa, mainly Somalia. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent believes that $1 billion from Minnesota was sent overseas. Then there's the autism scam, where Asha Farhan Hassan, 28, worked with other members of her community to defraud the state of Minnesota $14 million, pretending to treat kids with autism, pocketing herself at least $500,000, and she is charged currently with wire fraud for sending hundreds of millions of dollars to Africa. She paid off parents between $300 to $1,500 per month to keep their kids enrolled in this fake program. And then back in 2024, an interview with Representative Omar she said, quote, so I'm going to get this right, "My answer was to the U.S. government will do what we tell the U.S. government to do. We as Somalians should have that confidence in ourselves. We live in this country. It's a country where one of our own sits in Congress. The woman you sent to Congress is aware of you and has the same interests as you," talking to her Somali constituents. And how this doesn't get her kicked out of Congress is beyond me.
And Markle was talking about earlier, if you guys have caught the chat catching up, he was talking about how she was worth $64,000 when she was elected.
Yeah.
And now she's worth $33 million. And it's just like AOC. AOC was worth zero, and she's worth like 20-30 million right now too. I mean, it's nuts. These people go and they get rich.
Yeah,
nuts.
And then she flat out says she's Somalian, not American. I mean, her interests lie with Somalia and funding Al-Shabaab.
And then we're not going to do this story tonight, but the former TSA agent witnessed over several years the guys that that took the millions of dollars. Their suitcases were not searched by TSA. They had millions of dollars. Two people at the same time. Two guys would go through TSA, and she's now a whistleblower. Yeah.
10,000 out of the country and you get stopped.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
and it gets
exactly.
seized.
Exactly.
You don't get it back.
Yep. Yep. You don't get it back either. Yep. They count the money because that's theirs. Yeah. And these guys had millions in suitcases because what you just said with that article was they estimate it's like $1 billion. $1 billion they put aside, and that's what this lady had said too. She was a former TSA agent, and she retired and she's out of there, man. She was in Minnesota, whatever the airport is, and she was watching the Somalis go. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you guys are being a little bit unfair. I think if a Christian or a nationalist movement were to have $1 million in a suitcase and say travel to Florida or something, there would be TSA would get them too. No,
exactly.
TSA would let them through because all they would have to say is, Christophobia.
Yeah.
So there was actually one of the guys that lives in our community. He got stopped coming into Costa Rica by the dog at the airport, and the dog was smelling for money. And he had just under 10 grand on him in cash, and they pulled him aside and counted it, and they're like, "Okay, you're good." But
wow, yeah. I'm never flying again. Yeah, I won't fly until the millennium. That's when I'm flying.
I've been flying more.
I'll be flying.
Yeah, you got one left. Yeah, you will be too. Yeah, you're going back to Japan and you're going to Tennessee, and yeah, it's like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I got no choice.
Yeah.
Man, I got the pat down of my life by the TSA agent last time.
Yeah, I can't.
A couple of weeks ago.
I can't. Yeah, I can't.
It was hard. It was.
Actually, you know what? You guys bring up a great point. I have this brilliant $1 million scheme now. Are you lonely? Would you like to feel the beautiful human touch of someone who cares about you? Here at TSA Romance, we can guarantee that you will have what everyone desires.
TSA Romance. I remember back 10 years ago when they first started doing the crazy intrusive stuff, and we were still going to Hawaii. And it was our last visit to Hawaii, and my wife was looking at me, and she was like, "Oh Lord, please don't let him go off." And I got put through the ringer, and so they were feeling me up like crazy. I'm like, "That's the last time I travel," and it was the last time I traveled.
When you go through the machine.
Gosh, yeah. And Jacob has that, right? Does Jacob have that too?
I don't know if they've ever stopped Jacob, but they stop me every time.
Wow. Because you look like a terrorist.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, I mean, I got it where same thing. I just lost it when they first started doing that.
Oh, yeah. I can't. I'm here and I'm staying here and I don't have anywhere to go. So, but
I go to my happy place.
Yeah. Where's that? McDonald's?
I don't know. Well, it's McDonald's only if the McRib is there. Any other time, it's not worth going.
Oh, the McRib, that's good, dude. They don't have that. They have it every once in a while, huh?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. The McRib.
Speaking of McRibs, let's talk a little bit about Germany, the land of bad facial hair and freedom, or so we're told. If you thought the future would look like a boot on the face, Orwell style, think again. It's more like a polite camera, studying you, measuring you, capturing every nervous flicker, every micro expression, every movement of hesitation, sent to a central server where it's recorded, categorized, and archived. Not for tyranny, compliance by observation. What's going on in Germany nowadays with cameras and facial recognition?
Well, it's all for our own protection, right?
2 weeks to sharpen the curve. 2 weeks to.
Yeah.
The
You
wrong
got
propaganda
a whole bunch
point.
of a certain religion in, and now we need to save you from them. So it's for your
Yeah,
protection.
yeah.
The Berlin House of Representatives just passed amendments to the General Security and Public Order Act, or ASOG, that now gives the German government legal permission to use AI technology to aggressively monitor and enter populations in real time. The government will have the access to all citizens' personal data by any means necessary, including forcibly entering citizens' private homes. Interior Senator Iris Spranger of the SPD stated that these new laws were necessary to fight terrorism in this digital age. The government investigators can now legally hack IT systems, but if that doesn't work, authorities may, quote, secretly enter and search premises, unquote, of a suspect's personal residence to confiscate their digital devices. Citizens are not required to be notified that they are under surveillance before their homes are intrusively raided. Germany will equip public spaces with advanced technology. The cell tower query will be expanded to allow government to access data from all private phones. Network providers are now going to be required to give the government the movement and location of all its citizens. And on top of that, you get more. The license plate scanners are to be installed throughout the country, and that information will be sent to a centralized database. But again, hey, there's still more. With the German citizenship, you now get drones that are going to monitor everyone. They are free to steal your data from all publicly accessible websites to collect biometric comparisons of both faces and voices. The data will be fed into a nationwide surveillance platform. And they thought 1984 was just a book. It is a play manual they are taking to the
It's
next
a play
level.
manual. Yep.
Is this
Yep.
website that they're going to collect all the data called Gestapo 2.3?
I think, yes.
Wow. Wow.
That's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Like when I read that, that even goes beyond what I thought their reach would be. But then you see it's going to go to the other European cities too.
Yeah, and then you see Germany. Actually, Germany just took over. Jacob was talking about it today. Just took over Japan as the third largest financial
Debt?
what the hell? Yeah, not debt, not debt. They both are in debt. Japan and Germany, but the third largest economy. So he just said that. Yeah. He said they're both sucking big time. But they just took over. They just took over. Germany just took over Japan. And my story later on of the German the law, what's going on, and they don't get it, man. They don't get it. They're self imploding, man.
So is
Crazy.
it safe to say that Germany in 2025 is much like Germany in 1933?
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
This seems
probably
worse.
Yeah, it's probably 100 years, probably late 20s. How they're gonna and they're gonna you think they're bad now with their elections. They're gonna get their Hitler that they want. They're gonna reset. Yeah, it's nuts. Yep.
Oh, Germany, why do you have to cause problems? Every
Yes.
100 years you cause problems. Sometimes every 20, 30 years you cause problems.
Yeah.
And yet they always want to drop bombs on Japan, never
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the Germans.
Yep.
Speaking of annihilation, Kirk
Yeah.
Cameron is, he's questioning hell.
Yes.
So apparently hell is back in the news again because Kirk Cameron has recently said he's open to annihilationism. Well, what is that?
Yeah.
If you're keeping score, annihilationism is the view that the wicked don't suffer eternally. They're judged, punished, and poof, deleted. Control Alt Delete. No more Ken.
Mhm.
Control Alt Delete. No more Brett.
Yeah.
This prompted Living Waters' Ray Comfort to step in and clarify very politely, as he always does, that they do not subscribe to that doctrine. Translation, please don't lump us into what God sends people to the recycle bin theology, which raises the obvious question. Is this a serious theological re-examination, or is Christianity trying to make hell less embarrassing at dinner parties?
I don't know, but I'll tell you right now that if you saw the interview between he was talking to his son, and his son was 100% on board. You know, he was like, yeah, hell this, hell that, and this, you know, blah blah blah, and doing, and then I guess Ray Comfort was saying that you know, he's still questioning, you know, Kurt's still questioning some things, but he's pretty, you know, he was believing his son. And yeah, I don't know how old's his son. It's like 18, 19, 20 something. Yeah.
Old enough to know better.
The
biggest problem with that is who spoke more about hell than anybody else in the Bible.
Yes, and that's what I meant to say that. Yes, Jesus spoke more about hell.
So you're not believing what Jesus said?
Exactly. That's what I meant to say.
This goes right back to, I just happened to be talking to Marco this week too, and about the rise of preterism.
Oh, yes.
And I've seen that even down here. It's like, no, the book of Revelation, that already all happened.
It's already happened. Yeah. I got into a kind of a texting war with one of my clients that was, they're Lutheran, and he was talking about how, you know, it's like, how do you know? And I'm like, you can just, never mind. I just like, never mind.
Read it.
Just read it. And he doesn't, and he still says Revelations. So can tell he never opened. See, I think I mentioned this on the program months ago, but I listened to 22 chapters. I listened to the book of Revelation every night. I've been doing that for 2 years. It's an hour and 10 minutes long. If I play it at fast speed, it's like 45, 50 minutes long. And it's I listen to it because Revelation says, verse 3 of chapter 1 says, blessed is he who hears this prophecy and adheres to this prophecy and obeys this prophecy. Yep. So, and it says, but it's the only book that promises a special blessing. I mean, you're blessed if you read the Bible, but it's the only book that promises a special blessing to the one who reads and understands it.
Or even reads or hears.
Yeah, reads or hears. And so I listen to it every single night. I'm going on my second year. So.
Now I remember when you started doing that.
Yep, I told you. Yeah.
Do you think that non-believers today find it easier to accept annihilationism than to accept historical Christianity?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, because they'd rather be on.
Churches more.
Yep.
You know, it does occur to me also that it is exactly the line of atheism.
Yeah.
The idea of annihilationism is atheism in a sense, because atheists believe when we're done, we're done.
We're done. Yeah, that's it. Yep. So, absolutely. Yes.
So I guess that brings me to my next question. Is this a kind of like a nod to atheism that, hey, you can come inside the Christian tent?
Yes. That's a weird angle. Yeah. That's a crazy angle. Yeah. That's a good angle, Jay. Yeah.
Wow. It also makes me think, you know, when Jesus told the story about the rich man and Lazarus, he never clarified that to be a parable.
No, it wasn't. It was actually, whenever he used a man did this, a man did that, that was a parable. And then he
Yeah.
used both of them. He used their names. He
Yeah.
says the rich man's, and Lazarus. Yeah, serious. Yep. So that they say that was it's historical.
Which is
Yeah.
it's crazy because you think to yourself, how far have we come in Christianity that we want to? I mean, it says in the scriptures, to friendship with the world is enmity with God, and
Yeah.
yet we want to befriend anything that makes the world feel good, especially
Yeah.
like annihilationism. It makes people, well, if I don't have to really believe because,
Yeah.
God is so loving that eventually he'll just destroy me. And
Yeah.
destroying me will be better than suffering. So obviously it's a win-win for me, and I get to have all the fun I can possibly have on earth.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. That's a bad place to be.
It's a scary, scary doctrine.
That's a scary place to be. Yeah, I see it. I see that. I see that taking over a lot of thought, and like you said, it's meshing in with the the Christian, quote unquote Christian um ethos. So yeah, it's
Do you
crazy.
think do you think that annihilationism in Christian doctrine, especially when we're talking about Kirk Cameron's son, is that a watered down Christianity that he's subscribing to and promoting?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I hope he changes his mind. Maybe he was caught
yeah,
off guard. I don't know. I didn't see it, but yeah, that's so watered down and goes directly against Jesus's direct teachings.
yeah. He like you said, he taught on hell more than anything. He
Yeah.
taught on yeah,
He did.
yeah,
And what was and then what was the other biggest warning? Was it the hell? And then after hell was don't be deceived.
yeah.
And
Don't be deceived.
and,
Yep.
and what are we seeing now? We're seeing more deception now on every level.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think this with preterism and anti-Semitism and replacement theology is all growing part of that deception.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
Let me ask you a question. We know that the Sadducees believed that there was no resurrection, right?
Yes.
Is that a similar, let's call it a similar doctrinal mistake or heresy that Christians are denying eternal consequences, much like the Sadducees?
I never thought about that, but yes, absolutely.
I
Yes.
I would I would say it's even worse because we have more revelation now with the
Yes.
teachings that we have on hell from Jesus, along with the Old Testament, that it would be a worse punishment or worse heresy now than it was then.
Absolutely. Yep. 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 Yep.
Hmm.
Wow.
Well, that is all we have for that topic. We'll move on. This is very much related to this topic.
Yes.
Faith loses ground in the United States. Less than half of Americans now say religion is essential to their daily lives. Ken, I believe this was your story. Go
Yes,
ahead.
and yeah, U.S. faith plummets to lowest on record. Fewer than half Americans now say that religion is important part of their daily lives, and that's a 17% point drop since 2015, and which actually ranks among the largest declines in the world, according to a new Gallup poll. Um, and why this matters, the U.S. was once exceptional for its high religiosity among wealthy nations. The shift is profoundly made a major cultural change. Back in 2015, 66% of the U.S. adults said religion is essential to their daily life. Only 49% now say that. And the decline is among the biggest measured globally. So such a large decline are rare. The Gallup researchers noted, they said such large declines are rare. The researchers said that only 14 of more than 160 countries have seen drops of over 15 points. And they also said that the U.S. stands out as an outlier, less religious than most of the world, but still more devout than most of the world. 15,000 churches in the U.S. are estimated to shut their doors this year, and not more than a few thousand are expected to open. So what we're watching is Gen Z women are increasingly shunning organized religion, and they are leading the exodus from the from Christianity. So it's crazy to observe, because you see that there's been the clumps of, like, there's the divorce, the Calvaries. I don't agree with their end times rapture, but I agree that they've separated. You have the Jack Hibbs type of Calvary that's still pretty solid, and then you have the Brian Broderson, who took over for Chuck Smith, and that's the two Calvaries that separated. But you see that, and they're getting more liberal. They're getting way more liberal. So it's nuts to observe.
Brett, let me ask you a question. If religion is no longer providing meaning, what's replacing it in American life?
Self.
Yeah.
I've never seen, so I know this is kind of off topic, but Kenny, when we were in the gym, when we were training, if somebody would have came in there and set up a phone to video themselves, someone would have dropped a dumbbell on their phone and shattered it.
Yeah.
And just the self-centered and narcissism that I think it's filling that again, and this goes back to, we just got done going through Psalm 1 and 2, is man wants to be their own God.
Yeah.
And that's what they're replacing God with themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's convicting.
Yeah, that is.
Do you think Americans are more secular, Ken, or simply more religious about different things?
I think they're way more secular. I think and I just see I'm kind of isolating. I isolate myself, and I'm doing 3 Bible studies a week, but I can't find a church. I cannot find a church that teaches that is solid up here. And I'm having an issue with that. And that's why I'm trying to tune in. And I have good fellowship with the people, because I have this awesome Bible teacher that is, so I'm going through Acts and Daniel and Matthew. So it's awesome. It's awesome. But it's, he even was like, he goes, I don't know of a church to go, because if you go to a church, I was going to a church, and they started teaching preterism. They started teaching out of the book of Revelation. They started teaching preterism. And I'm like, what the heck? This is what you guys believed? And I had some things that I was like, well, I don't know about that. Well, I don't know about that. But that was like, what? You guys, that's the preterism is the belief that Revelation already happened, back in.
All the events of the book of Revelation
has already
happened in 70 AD.
So I'm asking the guys, because I was part of a Bible study, and I was asking them, I said, well, do you believe, because they all hopped on board, and it's like, what? So, but I was asking them, what do you believe about, when Jesus said, in Matthew 24:15,
that's what I was just going to bring up.
Yeah. Talking about what happened in 164 BC, the abomination of desolation, and what do you believe about everything before that or during that, and I just texted the guy, yesterday or today, I forget, and I texted him. I said, well, what do you do with Jesus talking about what's happening, what's coming? You can't relate that, because he thinks it all happened in 70 AD. He thinks it all is done. I'm just like, wow.
And half of everything he says on the Olivet Discourse is, it's like nothing this bad has ever happened or will ever happen again.
Yes. Nothing
It's just isolated to Jerusalem. Not to
Yes.
downplay what happened, but that is not what Jesus was talking about. I mean,
No.
granted, it was foreshadowing that a little bit, but that was foreshadowing what is to come.
Yes. And it's, man, I just see people deceived. Crazy. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Well, moving on, not to say that the woes of the United States aren't enough to make a grown man cry. I would also state that we have good news in Europe. You see, the EU already drowning in debt, a wobbling bond market, is talking and walking tough, floating some aggressive actions against Russia, which, while casually hinting that crashing the bond market might be acceptable side effect. And in case markets weren't nervous enough, some officials and policy voices are now entertaining the idea of a first strike being justified. Because nothing says stability like war talk from people who don't personally do any fighting.
Nope.
Bonds can burn, markets can crash, and escalation apparently is just it's just another policy lever. Welcome
Yeah.
to the EU, where rhetoric and non-responsibility are kind of the norm.
Yeah.
So going that we know that the EU has frozen Russian assets, but a lot of times what doesn't get talked about is of all the assets they've frozen, 80% of those assets actually belong to the private sector, not the Russian government. And it is estimated that they're holding $58 billion worth of private assets from the private sector in Russia, which is in direct violation of international law. Billions of dollars are unaccounted for and that have just seemed to have gone missing. And yet nobody talks about all the money that's gone missing in Ukraine. And it seems like nobody cares. It's all the money that's been sent to Ukraine. We have no idea where most of that money went. If it was my money, I'd want to know exactly where it was going. Also, following back to the EU, companies and politicians, no one ever questions or criticizes Zelensky for anything. And EU politicians and members of parliament and governments are rarely ever have to disclose anything that connects them to the defense industry. Shareholdings, even with major companies, so there's almost no verifiable evidence that EU politicians are major shareholders in these companies. Last month, EU lawmakers voted to strengthen their integration between the EU defense industry and Ukraine, allocating another 1.5 billion euros to defense contractors without any disclosures if any EU politicians are benefiting. To add to this, Admiral Kavo Dragon, if I'm saying that right, Dragon, chair of NATO's military committee, has suggested that a preemptive strike against Russia could, under certain circumstances, be justified as a form of self-action. He argues that NATO needs to move toward being more aggressive, quote, being more aggressive or proactive instead of reactive. And he said that in this type of hybrid warfare, a preemptive strike could be considered a defensive action. To top this off, the EU and Ukraine are considering to threaten the US if Trump makes a deal with Putin, that the EU would dump their $2.34 trillion in US debt, starting an economic war with the United States trying to crash the bond market.
And that would make the US stop giving money to the EU,
which would be great.
Yeah.
They want to be, I say let them have it. And
let them go.
No more weapon sales to the
just
EU or NATO.
What Ken brought up before is Germany's debt. France is out of money. And that's why they're thinking France is stealing some of those Russian assets, although that can't be proven. But it definitely looks that way. And if they don't have this war, they're going to lose power. So that's why they keep pushing for war, and they won't even even entertain the idea of making peace. I mean, they've
Yeah.
never even come to the table once to try to do that because they'll lose power because the countries are bankrupt.
Yeah.
I have a picture of General Drago real quick that I wanted to share with the panel. This is I think he switched sides because now he's in the EU, but
I will break you.
originally
I will break you. That was an awesome. That was Rocky 2, right? Yeah, Rocky 2.
3.
And then no, the third one was Clubber Lang.
Oh,
The
was
third
that
one
it?
was Clubber.
Okay.
Yeah, so the second one was Drago. And yeah, the first one was classic, man. The first one was
Yeah.
awesome. That was a good one. Yep.
actually it
Yeah.
was Rocky 4.
Rocky 4 was Drago?
Was Drago.
Oh wow. So the second one,
Second one was the rematch.
He was a
Yes.
rematch. Yeah, the rematch. Carl
Rematch,
Weathers
and
rematch.
third is Clubber Lang.
Third is Clubber Lang, and then the fourth one. Yeah.
Drago.
There you go.
I
There
will
you go.
break
There you go. I will break you. Yeah, that's it. You got it.
I mean,
Uh,
that's the guy I
the
want on my
crazy
side
thing
if I
is-
go to war.
yeah, me too.
You hear the EU politicians convinced that they can take Russia and that Russia's not going to use nukes. And there's no way. And China's even said they are not prepared to let Russia lose this battle because they know they'll be next.
Just
Yep.
a quick question off the top of my head. What navy can stand in the EU can stand against the Russian Navy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they
I
have
don't
a
know.
lot of attack submarines.
Yeah, they do, and they're strategically put around the world. Yeah.
I don't see
Yeah.
like the Italian Navy or the
Nope.
French Navy.
Even our Navy, but we have a whole bunch of subs too. The subs are a different command group, so that's what's cool too. But yeah.
Did you read where one of the Russian subs could launch one of the nuclear weapons on their sub, and it would go underwater and hit England, and the water and the tidal wave from that would completely wipe out the entire country?
What? I didn't read that. Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't read
Wow.
that.
Wow. I didn't read that. Wow. Yeah, send me that article. Wow.
Yeah, they're playing with fire.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
Well, it's an interesting, certainly interesting things going on in the EU or the E, as I like to call it.
You.
Well, Germany and Islam, Ken. It's that
Yes.
time of year. Christmas markets, city sidewalks, and a brand new carol that will go in right here. That's just for Germany. City sidewalks, dusty sidewalk, with the heat job in style. In the air, there's a feeling of Sharia. People praying, infidels fleeing, mile after mile, and on every street corner, you'll hear Sharia law, Islamic law, Islamic law. It's jihad time in the city. Allahu Akbar, hear the cry. We will take Christmas away. Streams of street lights, even stoplight, red, bright, green and gold, as the mullahs rush home with their treasures. Hear the call ring, see the fatah swing. This is Islam's big scene, and above all this bustle, you'll hear Sharia law, Ladies and gentlemen, here's a real story. Welcome to Absurdity Alert, the show where reality out-satirizes satire itself. Because why bother scripting jokes when the world hands them on a silver platter of stupidity? The headline tonight, from the land of beer, bratwurst, and pretzels, and bewildering bureaucracy. In Germany, a woman gets stabbed 6 times by a knife-wielding maniac, but hold on to your outrage. Turns out she's the real nefarious villain here. That's right, folks. After daring to scream and resist being murdered and being non-compliant, she is a drama queen, and authorities have decided her reaction reeks of Islamophobia because nothing says hate crime like not politely accepting your own shish kebabbing. Meanwhile, the stab-happy attacker, he's looking at a lighter sentence, probably some side community service, therapy, and better aim at the arteries next time. Justice served.
Oh man, that's an awesome opening. But in Germany, an Afghani who stabbed a person is given a more lenient sentence because he stopped after only 6 stabs. The attempted murder charge in this case was dropped, leading to the more lenient sentence from the court. The 29-year-old Afghan migrant has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for stabbing a 27-year-old teacher at random on the street in the middle of the day. Despite stabbing the victim 4 times in the 4 times in the back and twice in the thigh, the fact that the Afghan stopped stabbing her once she started screaming was enough to convince the court in Stuttgart to drop the attempted murder charge. The attack happened in a residential area this year. The attacker did not know the victim. The moment the woman began screaming after the stabbing, her multiple times, after she got stabbed multiple times, the attacker let her go and ran away. And because of the fact that he stopped stabbing her and ran away, the court claimed this was a withdrawal from attempted murder. That's a quote. And therefore, since the man could have kept stabbing her but stopped, he was only convicted of the lesser crime of previous bodily harm. The defendant denied that he stabbed the woman. Number one, he's not right in the head. And despite DNA traces were found on the teacher's clothing, and he was also found with the knife used in the crime. You know, Germany's a goner, man. Actually, the world is. But I remember years ago in Germany, and I shared this with you guys in the pre-show. They gave some rapist a lesser sentence because he used a condom, and that's
He's
just
awful rapist,
right? Yeah. Oh man, I can't help it. How can you not just be looking at this and laughing and just what?
First of all, Ken, I just want to set the record straight. Just because he's from Afghanistan doesn't necessarily mean that he is an adherent to any particular political or religious group. In fact, I think he's a Christian. That's really what's going on here.
A Christian nationalist.
Nationalist, yeah.
and by the way, when the woman started to scream, he thought he heard the Islamic call to prayer. And that's why he left.
He had to leave and go.
He realized that he had to go and pray.
Yep, absolutely. So
the dog that walked by her.
Oh, man, I can't.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense somewhere.
It doesn't make sense.
Never does.
It never does.
That's just like we were talking about before, too. It's like we would have thought these were Babylon Bee stories a year ago.
Yes. They're all Babylon Bee stories. All of them are.
Like, this can't be real.
No, exactly. You're thinking this one can't be, this one can't be. Every story we have is like, that can't be real. That can't be real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you there, Jay?
I'm here. And for our final story, something diabolical is happening in American consumable products today, the National Biscuit Company. We're going to show you the receipts tonight. First of all, let me start by saying this presentation is for entertainment purposes only, but I'll start with what we know as the facts. Oreo has quietly replaced real sugar. That's right, sugar. Real sugar in its zero sugar cookies with a lab-engineered cocktail. Maltitol, polydextrose, sucralose, and asufamine K, synthetic sweeteners. Critics associate with gut disruption, hormonal interference, and industrial chemical byproducts. A resurfaced viral video shows regular Oreos exposed to a full blowtorch. They don't ignite, don't melt, don't burn. Behavior more like heat-resistant construction materials than food. Let's go to that video.
It's glowing, but it's not burning.
You can see it. It's keeps in shape. And look at it. You can still read the Oreo on there.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was
Just imagine
forged
that.
in the fires of Mordor.
Just imagine that in your gut. Wow. It just couldn't. You just couldn't. We like Jay and I said in the pre-show, we just ate Oreos when we were kids.
Now, I'm going to go to my presentation now, and I will leave it to you after this, but first I wanted to go into maybe a little bit of a conspiracy. I'm full warning. This is Conspiracy Corner on Ken's Corner. I wanted to show you something that I have discovered. First of all, what is the Leviathan cross? It's a double-barred cross, symbolizes harmony, balance, and protection among many people, much like National Biscuits do. Then you have the infinite symbol, symbolizing the eternal universe. It's called the brimstone symbol. That's interesting because what do we find? Acesulfame K, a sulfate, one of the major ingredients in brimstone, sulfur. As it is a symbol of sulfur in alchemy, sulfur is one of the three essential natural elements and associated with the supposed torments of hell. Thus, the Leviathan cross symbolizes hell and its torment, and Satan and the devil himself. Now here's where it gets interesting. We have the Oreo, the circle, and the cross. But watch. Whoa.
Oh.
The infinite
Whoa.
loop within the two O's in Oreo. And then
Wow.
the cross. Is it just coincidence? Or is there something diabolical going on?
Wow.
You'll have to decide.
Wow.
But Ken, why don't you go ahead and talk about what we're dealing with
No, I'm just-
infections.
Yeah, I just saw that video and I'm like, whoa. And because we used to remember we were talking about in the pre-show that we used to eat Oreos all the time. That was one of my treats. But the chemicals are so toxic that they survive a blowtorch. I mean, and you watch these lab-made wonders. You know, they don't burn, they won't ignite, they don't melt. I mean, that's a blowtorch. And they just sit there like heat-resistant construction material. It's crazy. But I just wanted to share that at the end. That was awesome.
And yet,
Uh,
I'm not gonna lie. I had sugar Oreos a couple of days ago,
yeah,
and they're
I don't
I
know
would
if they're
stick
the
to
same.
those.
I don't know if they're. Yeah, I stick to those, man. I don't know about these zero sugar Oreos. Yeah, I don't know.
Those just like, remember the scam back, gosh, what was it? Was it in the 2000s or when everything, don't have fat, we're going to make everything fat free, but just dump more sugar
Yes.
and chemicals in
Yes.
it. And everybody,
Yep. Everybody started gaining
you
it.
could do.
Yep. And then they started eating like steaks and eggs and fat, and butter and regular and ghee and all this bacon and all this other stuff. And that's like, that your body, gets energized from that more so. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah. Yep. All these carbs that are just killing you. Yep. Crazy.
And the chemicals and
I think
And
the
the chemicals,
I think
yeah.
the chemicals are
Yeah.
more problematic than the carbs, but
Yeah.
carbs are
Yeah.
problematic.
I know that. Yeah. And I think that you have to eat like that now, but the carbs that because you look at back in the day and people they didn't have any issues with gut issues or, they just, you just ate what you kind of wanted,
Well, this goes back to the destruction of the nuclear family, to be honest.
Yes.
A reliance on
Yes.
processed food can only exist
yeah.
when
Yeah.
there isn't someone always in the house cooking and preparing things from scratch, like
Yes.
society has done for thousands of years.
Thousands of years. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's just, yeah. So it's just, yeah, it's nuts. Yep.
Well, we want to thank everyone for tuning into Ken's Corner. It has been great to see you again, Ken. We don't get to talk as much as I'd like. Both of you are very busy, and I am obviously very busy. But I love it
Yeah.
when we can get together and do a show. It's highlight of my week. I have a verse this week. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinner, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Just a reminder, there's no such thing as sinless perfection. And every day we should be going and coming near to God. Because if we're not always putting our effort into coming near to God, it's very easy to just let it slide. And that in itself is a sin. You should want to come near to God every single day because he pursues you. So with that, I leave you and say, God bless you, and I hope that we will see you again. This is Ken's Corner signing off.
Amen.
Amen.